أفلحوا أقون ديغايو معالين انتي مدنيد أذا مريه.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa ma'al Al-Dareyn, your biology teacher. So our topic today is circulatory system. Okay, but before we jump in this new lesson, let us recap our previous lessons. Okay, so our topic is all about blood. Okay, so we discussed about blood. Okay, and okay, so we said last time that we discussed about blood and we divided blood into two main portions. So the first part we discussed was plasma, which made up of 55% of the whole blood composition. Okay, so it's a watery part of the blood, which transports nutrients, vitamins, and other important substances. Other 45% is made up of cells. Okay, so these cells are included red blood cells or RBC in short form, white blood cells, okay, or WBC, and thrombocytes or platelets. Okay, platelets. These are the cells we have discussed it last time. So today our topic is all about the circulatory system. Okay, so the circulatory system is mainly made up of blood vessels. Okay, blood vessels and the heart. Okay. So marka circulatory system wuxuu ka kooban yahay labada qaybood ee ugu waaweyn maxaa yeelay xididada dhiigga ama blood vessels kan oranano iyo the heart ama qalbiga ama wadnaha. Okay, so labada qaybood maanta marka hadii Ilaahay yiraahdo aynu ka sheekeyn doonaa ama aynu Okay, so circulatory system, if we try to define, is a network of blood vessels and as well as the heart, which pumps the blood to all parts of the body. So the function, the most important function of the heart is to pump the blood. Okay, to pump the blood to to cells, tissues, and the organs, to deliver oxygen and the nutrients that these cells and tissues are required. Okay. So blood vessels also deliver oxygen and other important nutrients. So this included might be the vitamins and the digested food. Okay, vitamins and other nutrients like, for example, amino acids, glucose, and etc. Okay, so the circulatory system is composed of, as we said earlier, the heart, arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. And our topic today is going to be the differences between the arteries, veins, and the capillaries, and as well as their functions. Okay. So let us see the types of blood vessels. Okay, the types of blood vessels in human system or in human body. So the types, we have only 3 types of blood vessels. These are, for example, the veins. We will see the difference between the veins, the arteries, and the capillaries, and their specific function is when it comes to providing or transporting blood or other substances. Okay, so the first lesson or the first topic is arteries. So arteries, they carry blood away from the heart. Okay, so this is, for example, our heart. Okay, this is our heart. So whenever the blood comes from the heart to the cells, okay, these are, for example, your cells. So the blood comes from the heart to the cells. The blood vessels that transport the blood from the heart to the cells is known as artery or arteries in plural form. Okay, artery. Okay, so artery takes the blood from the heart to the cells to deliver oxygen and other important nutrients that the cells require to get energy, to do cell division, and other important functions. Okay. So they deliver the blood to organs, tissues, and the cells. Okay. So remember, arteries, they take blood away from the heart, okay, to the cells, organs, and tissues, except, okay, pulmonary artery. Okay, so it says the artery carry oxygenated blood with oxygen, except the pulmonary artery, which transports or carries deoxygenated blood without oxygen. Okay, so arteries, they carry oxygenated blood to cells and other body parts. Okay, so deoxygenated meaning blood without oxygen. Okay, or low oxygen. It could be without oxygen or low presence of oxygen. Okay, so that's all about the arteries. So remember, arteries, number one, they take blood from the heart. Okay, they carry the blood, I mean, to the cells. Number one, number two, they carry oxygen, blood with oxygen, except the pulmonary artery. Okay, so let us see veins. Okay, so veins are vessels which carry blood towards the heart. Okay, so if we said that the arteries carry the blood away from the heart to cells and tissue and organs, what veins do is they return back the blood to the heart from the body. Okay, so they return the blood back to the heart. So this is the veins, the functions of the veins. Okay, so when the blood delivers oxygen to cells and picks up carbon dioxide, the veins, these are the vessels that are specialized to carry blood back to the heart. Okay, for addition of oxygen. So they return blood from the rest of the body to the heart. Okay, veins carry deoxygenated blood. So this is the difference. Okay, we said that arteries, they carry oxygenated blood with oxygen, but here veins, they carry or transport deoxygenated blood without oxygen. Okay, it could be low or without totally oxygen. For reoxygenation, meaning addition of oxygen. So reoxygenation meaning addition of oxygen. So when the blood is returned from the body parts, from the cells, it will return to the heart, and the heart will pump the blood to the pulmonary through pulmonary artery to lungs. So the blood will be reoxygenated. Okay, and then the blood will be returned to the heart, and then pumps the blood into the body parts, oxygenated blood. Okay, after oxygen has been dropped off. Okay, dropped off meaning used up. After the oxygen is used up, okay, after the oxygen is used up, the blood is returned back to the heart by the veins. Okay, so for example, let's say this is the artery and this is your cell. Okay, when the blood arrives to the cell, the oxygen will be dropped or will be used. Okay, so the artery, when the oxygen is dropped and used up, the blood should be returned back to the heart through blood vessels called veins. Okay, veins also pick up carbon dioxide. Okay, so to remove from the cells, organs, and tissues as a waste products. Okay, so veins also, they carry carbon dioxide from the cells. So see, when the oxygen, here the gaseous exchange takes place, carbon dioxide, I mean oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Okay, so this carbon dioxide should be eliminated from the cells through veins. The largest vein is called vena cava. Okay, so this is the largest vein. Okay. So vena cava has two portions or two divisions, or we could say two parts. So the first part we call superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. And the difference is superior vena cava retains the blood from the head, from the neck, and the upper limbs. Okay, like for example our arms. Okay. Whereas inferior vena cava retains the blood from the lower parts or the rest of the body parts. Okay, so here it is. It retains the blood from where? From the neck, from the head, from the neck, from the chest, and the upper limbs, like for example our arms, to the heart. Okay. Whereas inferior vena cava retains blood from all other parts of the body except the head, the neck, the chest, and the upper limbs. Okay. Veins are further divided into smaller vessels called venules. Okay. When the vein is divided into smaller subunits, they become very narrower, very small. So these are called venules. So venules are the smallest veins. Okay, so they become very small. So that's called venules. Okay, so here we now capillary arteries. I hope you identify the differences between arteries and the veins. So here let us see the capillaries and how different they are from these two types of blood vessels. So capillaries are smallest blood vessels. They are very, very small, very tiny blood vessels connecting the arterioles to venules. Okay, so when it's the arteries further divided, they become arterioles, very small, narrower blood vessels, and then they become also to venules. So arterioles are the smallest vessels of arteries, in other words, okay? Meaning arteries are further subdivided into tiny vessels called arterioles. Okay, so here is the concept. For example, our cells, they are very small. They are microscopic level. Okay, so the arteries and veins are way more larger than our cells. Okay, so they cannot provide the blood vessels. I mean the blood, the oxygen, nutrients. So in order to fit the size of the cells, they further divided. They become very small. They become venules. This one becomes a venules, a small blood vessels. This becomes arterioles. Okay, this become arterioles. So, and the whole idea is to fit the size of the cell. And finally, they tend to be capillaries. We will see in a diagram. Okay, capillaries play a vital role in circulation. Okay, so how because they deliver oxygen to cells, tissues, and also they pick up carbon dioxide. In other words, we can say capillaries are the sites of number one, gaseous exchange, where the carbon dioxide and oxygen is exchanged. Okay, gaseous exchange. We could say number two, it is where the energy, the nutrients or the transfer of nutrients also take place. So carbon dioxide will be eliminated and oxygen will be delivered. Okay. So capillaries are the sites where the transfer of oxygen and other nutrients take place. Okay. So the basic concept is, for example, in the cells we have capillaries, a network of capillaries. So these capillaries, they deliver oxygen and other nutrients, and they also transport, or eliminate carbon dioxide out of the cells. So here is the diagram. So this diagram summarizes what we have discussed so far in our lesson. So here, the reddish part of the cells, this is called, artery. Okay, so artery comes from directly the heart. It pumps the blood from the heart into the cells. So this arrow, this is the heart, and this is the arrow. This arrow illustrates the direction of the blood flow. Okay, in between, this is we call arterioles. Here, this is the arterioles. Okay, arterioles. This is arterioles. Okay, so finally arterioles, they tend to capillaries. So here we have the capillaries. Here we also have venules. Okay, and here this is the veins, as you see. So veins, and this arrow illustrates or shows the direction of the blood flow, meaning the blood retains from the body parts into the heart. The difference also is the color. See, this one is a reddish, okay, in color. It is a reddish in color. So it's a reddish in color. So this reddish color illustrates or explains that there is a presence of oxygen in the blood. Okay, while this one or the color here illustrates the bluish. Okay, bluish. Okay, so this bluish color, it also illustrates or explains a lack of oxygen. Okay, this one or the color here explains lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen. I mean, there is no presence of oxygen, but here this one there is a high presence of oxygen. Okay, this reddish, it says it illustrates or explains presence of I mean oxygen. Okay, so this is the difference between the capillaries and I mean venous capillaries and veins and arteries. Okay, and this network of blood vessels are called capillaries.